guys, welcome to the video. This is a short video based on stretches that can help with sciatica. I suffered with sciatica a couple of years ago and it lasted for months and months. It must have been about 8 months, and these are the stretches that I found helpful. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Please be careful and work mindfully. If anything doesn't feel good, it usually isn't right for your body, so please stop if you feel any pain or any discomfort. But we will start lying down, so find yourself a nice comfortable space. So just starting lying on your back with the knees bent, feet on the floor, your arms facing up, palms facing up. Just taking a couple of deep breaths and arriving in your practice. Just moving the fingers, rolling the head from side to side, just gently waking up the body. I'm going to start by hugging the knees into the chest. So just hug the knees in as tightly as you can and gently rock side to side. Maybe start to make some small circles with the lower back against the mat. And then dropping the feet back down to the mat, keep the knees bent. I'm going to straighten the right leg up to the ceiling, pointing and flexing the toes on that right leg. Circling into the ankle. And then we'll take a cross figure with the legs, come into a figure 4. So taking that right ankle to the top of the left knee and taking the hand down just to put a bit of pressure onto that right thigh. I can't speak today. Onto the right thigh. Gently pushing it, pulsing up and down. Keep that foot flexed on the right leg. And then just holding it there. Working on opening into the hips, into the glutes. So you might be happy just to stay like this, or you can take the hand, one hand through the middle, one hand around the outside of that left thigh and draw the left thigh closer towards yourself. You'll feel a deeper stretch now going through the outside of that right glute and into the hip. Remember to take some big deep breaths. And drop the left foot to the floor, keep the legs where they are. We're going to take both legs now across towards the floor on the left. They might reach the floor, they might not. Maybe hold on to that right knee. Turning your head towards the right side. Again, keep breathing, nice deep breaths. So working into the lower back, into the glutes and into the hips. One more breath. Bringing yourself back up to center, maybe using the hands to push yourself back up. We're going to swap legs. So just doing the exact same on the other side. We're going to straighten the left leg up to the ceiling, pointing and flexing the toes. Circling into the ankle. And then bring the legs into that figure 4 shape on this side. Hand comes down to the left thigh and just pulse it up and down. Keep the left foot flexed. And then hold it in that position. Should feel a stretch going through the hip. Either stick with this or thread the needle, one hand through the middle, one hand round the outside of the right leg. Bringing the legs closer in. Again, flex both feet. Breathe deeply. Breathe into that stretch. Taking the right foot back down to the floor, keep that figure of four shape, and then maybe take the arms out to the side to balance yourself. Taking that left foot down to the floor on the right side. Just going to wiggle over a bit so I've got more room. Turning the head to the left, as well as working into the hips. Now we're working into the lower back. A lot of these stretches for sciatica will be based on the floor. Apart from there's a couple that I'll find that's easier to do standing, but not many, to be honest. Bring yourself back to centre. Unravel the legs. This time I'm going to take the feet as wide as the mat, and then just work both legs from one side to the other. So keeping them sorry, I can't speak. Mat distance apart, moving the legs from one side to the other. And then when you come down to the left side, leave the legs down on the floor. So we're now also stretching down the front of this hip, as well as into the lower back. Just take a couple of breaths. This might be a good enough stretch for you, or you can use the left foot to just rest on top of the right knee and then deepen the stretch going down the front of the hip. You should feel it a bit more of a stretch going down the front of the hip now. And release that left foot if it's lifted. Bring the knees back to centre. We'll move to the other side. Drop both knees down to the right, and you can either hold it like this. I'm trying to keep the shoulders flat on the ground, relaxing through the neck and the shoulders. Either stay in that position, or the right foot can come on top of the left knee, pulling that left knee closer to the ground. It's entirely up to you. Do what feels good for you. And release. Bring the knees back to centre. Just bringing the feet back to hip distance. And we're just going to take both knees now across to the left side. Maybe shuffle the hips towards the right slightly before you drop the knees. Turn your head to the right. You might want to rest your hand on top of the knees, gives you a bit more pull to twist. Again, breathe deeply, breathe into the belly, feel the belly expand. One more deep breath. Bringing the knees back to centre. Just shuffle the hips to the left before you drop both knees to the right. Should feel this in the lower back. Turn your head to the left. And if you want to, you can bring your hands to the knees, just pulling the knees further down towards the floor. One more deep breath. And release, bring the knees back to centre. I'm going to move into a bridge position. So with the feet on the floor, knees bent, so the fingertips are almost touching the heels. That's the way I find that right position for bridge position. And we're going to breathe in, lift the hips up, squeeze in the glutes and the thighs. Lifting up the hips as high as you can. Just holding it for 3, 2, 1. And release, lowering down as slow as you can. Nice, slow, controlled movement on the release. I'm going to do a couple more. So as you're breathing in, lifting the hips up, squeezing the glutes and thighs. And again, again, holding it for 3, 2, 1, and release, lowering down as slow as you can. Keep breathing, don't hold your breath. And on the last one, we're going to challenge our balance a little bit. So the next one, we're going to lift the hips. So as you breathe in, lift the hips up again. Maybe snuggle the shoulder blades a little bit underneath yourself. And we're just going to lift one leg up to the same height as the opposite. So we're working the core, finding some stability. So if you look towards your thighs, they should be level with each other. We don't want one up here or down here. We want the thighs to be level. So we're using the back, the thighs, the glutes. It's all going on. And just breathe in there for 3 breaths. 3, 2, 1. Well done. Release that leg, release the hips down to the floor. Hug the knees in, just take a little rock and roll. And take the feet back to that bridge position. We're going to do the other side. So we're going to lift the opposite leg this time. Breathing in, lifting the hips up, squeezing the glutes and the thighs. So working everything around the centre of the body. And you can either stay like this, or you can lift the right leg up. Make sure you glance down, just make sure the thighs are level with each other. And breathing in for 3, 2, 1. Release that right leg back down, and then lower yourself down as slow as you can. Lovely job, well done. Okay, so this time we're going to hug the knees into the chest. We'll take the knees a bit wider and then take the arms underneath the knees. This one really helped me for some odd reason. It's a bit of a happy baby position. So just have the feet up towards the ceiling, just rocking from side to side. If you don't like the hands underneath the knee creases, you can grab hold of the outside of the feet and then lift the soles of the feet towards the ceiling. So this is working into the groin as well as the hips. Just give it a gentle rock from side to side. You can hold these postures for as long as you like, usually around 30 seconds. And release the feet back to the floor. We're going to come up to a seated position and then swing the legs round, so coming into a child's pose. So finding that tabletop position on all fours, bring the toes together, big toes, separate the knees as wide as the mat, send the bottom back towards the heels, and then stretch the arms out. Now we're going to actively push the bottom back down to the heels whilst stretching. It's a bit of a push and pull. The bum's going back, you're forcing it back, but you're also pushing forward with the upper body. So you've got to feel the push and the pull at the same time, if that makes any sense. So relaxing the head down, taking some deep breaths, keep pushing the bum down towards the heels, but pulling the upper body towards the wrists. So you feel a nice lengthening going through the centre of the middle of the body. You can come up onto the fingertips if that's more of a stretch. And then we're going to come up back onto the tabletop position. And one last exercise on the mat before we stand up. So we're just going to straighten the legs out behind us. We're coming into a plank position. Now you might not think this is good for sciatica, but it does actually help because you're strengthening the muscles in the thighs and the glutes, which can sometimes lead to the sciatica pain if you've got weak glutes. So just holding your plank position, shoulders are over the wrists and forcing the heels back towards the floor. Take a deep breath, just take the knees down, just rest for a couple of breaths. We're going to do one more plank and then one standing up exercise, which is the only standing up exercise that I found help me. So just find your plank again, straighten the legs out behind, make sure you're squeezing the belly in, your hips are not up here, they're down towards the mat, and then just push the heels back. You can do this on the forearms as well, it just works just as good. In fact, I think this one might actually work it a little bit harder because this is harder to do. Relax, drop the knees and come up to a standing position. So it's a very simple exercise. Going with the feet together, big toes together, slight gap between the heels. We're just going to breathe in, take the arms up, lengthen. We're just looking up towards the thumbs, hugging the lower ribs in, don't throw the ribs out. And then we're going to fold, bend at the knees, take the chest down towards the thighs, relaxing the fingertips down towards the floor. This was the most painful exercise I found for sciatica pain. It was the bending forward. So just breathe in, just let the head and the neck be loose. Give them a little shake from side to side. Breathe. 4 breaths. We're going to hold it for 10 breaths. If you can. If not, don't worry. Or if it is incredibly painful to do the forward fold, just keep going up and down. I couldn't get anywhere near the floor. Trust me, it lasted about 9 months. And again, folding all the way down. All the way back up to standing. We'll take the arms back up, fingertips together. Look up towards the thumbs. And we're going to do one more fold. Bend the knees, bring the hands down to the floor, chest to the thighs. Relax the head and the neck, give them a little shake out. Find your forward fold. Again, if it's painful, you're struggling, just bending up and down. Just moving that spine in the opposite direction from what you think you might need to move it in. Because I always thought I needed a back bend. It was a forward fold that I needed more than anything else. Lovely. Drop the hands to the floor. Sit yourself down. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you find it a bit helpful. Please be careful, as I say, with practicing, especially if you're in pain already. If you've not subscribed, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you again soon for some more videos. Take care.